Of course, those living in the 7 affected countries who are hoping to immigrate to the United States now face uncertain futures. And for those seeking refugee status, it's even more unclear. Many of those people have risked their lives helping U.S. troops overseas, providing intelligence aid, and translating for Americans on the ground. We spoke with Congressman Seth Moulton earlier today on Boston Public Radio, who served in Iraq, about the dangers his translators faced and the time it took for even him, a congressman, to get them here.
They'd be on the front lines, and if we got attacked, they were attacked as well. Every time they go to the base, they get watched by the terrorists, and the terrorists watch them come home, and they know where their families are. And this is someone that I trusted with my life every single day. It's someone that I gave a gun to so that if we were in a tough situation, he could fight alongside me, and it still took him 8 years to get through the process.
Thousands of Iraqis have resettled in the U.S. since 2008 under the special visa programs created specifically to help those who aided American soldiers and put their lives in danger at home as a result. But the process takes on average 18 to 24 months, and more than 50,000 are still waiting to be processed, according to the International Refugee Assistance Project. Joining me now is one former translator, Wissam Al-Baidani. Did I get it right? Pretty
yes.
good. I knew I was there. Who made it to this country back in 2012. It's very good to meet you, Wissam.
Thanks
you
so
for being
much.
Here.
Thanks for
in part, thanks to former Army Sergeant Peter Farley, who now works for Veterans Affairs in Rhode Island and joins us as well. Peter, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
What's he mean to you?
He is my brother in arms. We wouldn't be able to carry the mission without people like Wissam. He's my best friend, and as I was telling you before we got on the air, I look at him as every bit of a veteran as I am.
So do I.
He might not meet the federal definition of veteran, but to me, he's put more on the line than I have.
How much at risk was he helping you?
He was the terrorist isn't able to differentiate between who is who. I mean, he wears the same uniform as we did.
But it seems to me, as an outsider, in many ways, as an Iraqi, you're even more at risk because you're siding with the enemy.
Correct.
You and your Khalid, your brother, was also a translator, and the reward you got back home, he was shot in the face, from what I understand, and you received death threats. So you were aware of these risks, and you still decided it was important enough to do what you did for people like him?
Because
Why?
Because we believe this is the right thing to do. We need help our country so they can help us. So we help them so they can help our country as well. So, the whole time, we as a family supported this mission in Iraq. We know that's what the Army doing in Iraq is a good thing, and they want to help us, but they want the tools. So we have this ability. We speak English, and we can help them with this.
My understanding is, forget this executive order, these executive orders from last week. I believe it's your father and younger siblings, and Khalid is in this country, even though he's still injured.
Yeah.
Had visas and were ready to come here, and on August 30th of last year, all of a sudden the visas were withdrawn.
Correct.
Why?
Correct, and that's what we're trying to understand. Why? They have all the information about.
They went through all the vetting.
They have all the vettings. From 2010 until 2016, and they every year they have to go through a health check or a medical exam. They expire, and they have to do it again and again and again. They did all the security check. In August 15, they called them to say, "You're good to go.
Right.
You need to be ready at the airport in August 30th."
And didn't your father sell his house or something
He did,
in anticipation of this?
Exactly.
Because he had been told by the Americans it was going to happen?
Exactly, because there's no reason to keep all of this
So
stuff.
do you have any idea why this was withdrawn?
No idea. This is the model family in terms of loyalty to the U.S. I mean, his brother was shot in the face walking off a FOB, a military base in Iraq. His uncle was killed by the militia. His body was left for dead in a dumpster. This is the model family in terms of U.S. loyalty. We can't imagine.
Are they at risk remaining there as family of someone like you who helped the United States?
So because the terrorists know. They know us. They know what I did and my brother, and that's why we left the country. And they now going after them because they know they're trying to come here. So my family have to leave the whole area and go hide, because they're afraid for their life.
And that's what I was getting at before. Is he put more on the line than I did. I could leave. I could come home. He has to. Lucky that he made it here, but he had to face the consequences after we left, and his family has to continue to for the rest of their days.
Also, to magnify this, for people who don't appreciate, and I have to say I at times am this, you went after all this to work at the Iraqi Ministry of Justice.
Correct.
Tell us what happened on a day where you're either late to work or you had some. What happened that day?
After I left the army, I find a job in Iraqi Ministry of Justice, and I was on the way. A normal day, I would walk into to my job, and all of a sudden, the whole building exploded. And I was late that day for traffic, and because the traffic.
155 people killed, weren't they?
Exactly, and there was children there. There was a lot of people, like employee I know there. They lost their kids or they lost their spouse.
So, Wissam, you go through this thing in August when you think the people you love are finally going to join you. That falls apart. You have no idea. Last Friday, you find out about these executive orders, which just compound the problem. What was your immediate reaction to this?
It's not fair. It's not fair when he put all the eggs in one basket. You know, it's like you have to look at those cases individually. You have to see who did sacrifice, who did help the country, who did support the mission in Iraq. Those people, they're supposed to be here. It's the less you can do for them.
What can you do? You know, it seems to me, I hate to be a glass half full kind of guy. Mm-hmm. It seems to me that Donald Trump could not possibly intend for someone like him and people like him and his family to be stopped by this policy.
We were baffled. I mean, before the ban came out, the executive order, there were drafts going around, and we were all looking at it being like, where is the exemption for those who risk their lives for us? And
there isn't one.
They're saying, they came out yesterday saying there might be an exemption for special immigration visas, but there hasn't been anything official promulgated yet as far as that.
When terrorists back in your country hear that there are orders advanced by the President of the United States, which many, even in America, believe are anti-Muslim, does that not feed the whole line that they're trying to say, that this is a war against Islam?
Exactly. That's what they need to hear. They need to tell people, look, you know, they hate Muslims. See what they did to the people who already live there. So what if about us who live on those countries? What they're going to do to us? So that's actually very dangerous, and it's not really a smart way to deliver a first message. You're saying that you are a new president and you need to help people and you need to support the everything's going on in the Middle East. So that's not a good idea.
I asked him at the beginning what you meant to him. Before we go, what does he mean to you?
He's my life. He's everything. He's my brother. I own him my life, and he done so much for me. He done so much for me. I'm not right now. I wouldn't be who I am right now without him. Like if I backed years ago, and I was like, when I first came here, I was like, what I'm gonna do here? Like without him, I will be lost, completely lost.
Well, it's a great story. You did great things, and I just hope your family gets to share it with us and you. Wissam, thank you for everything,
so much
and
for your
lots
help.
of luck.
Appreciate
And Peter,
it.
thank you.
Thank
as
you
well.
very much for
Good
having
luck.
us.
We are with you, and then some.